So I will be recording this session. I hope it's okay for all of you. Yeah?
Yeah, for me it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Dipto, please start.
Okay, so I guess everybody is introduced, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome everybody to this session of Nirvikalpa, a workshop by Francis Laleman as part of the Evenings of Stories, and it's wonderful to have Francis. Francis is from Belgium. He is an Indologist, a scholar of Sanskrit, and a theater practitioner, a storyteller, and also he contributes significantly to the development sector. He's written a book on alternative education, which I look forward to reading very soon. And so on behalf of Alliance Française du Bengale, Culture Monks and Masterpiece, I am very happy to start this session. Thank you. Francis, please take over.
Thank you, Sudipto. And welcome everybody. This is not a performance by me, so don't look at me too much this time. We're here together, and it is together that we will create something. As Sudipto has been so kind to tell you in his introduction, I am involved with development and education, and one of the types of non-conventional education structures I use is I try to tickle people to come up with ideas and to be creative through non-conventional means. And one of the structures that I use is called Nirvikalpa. And well, in Bengali, you have a wonderful way of saying this, Nirvikalpa. Yeah, for me, it would be Nirvikalpa. Anyway, the meaning of Nirvikalpa means that there is no alternative. So in English, I would just call it's a workshop with no alternatives. There are no alternatives but the ones that we together create right now, together in real time. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to create a story as interesting as we can. Which story that will be, we don't know as yet. I don't know as yet either. But we will try to co-create that story together using objects around us that will help us to come up with ideas to proceed in the story, all of us together. So, if possible, if your broadband allows it, I would like to invite everybody to switch on their camera, because I will need as much visual contact with all of you as possible. So if you have the broadband, please do that. And before we start, I will need you to do something else. I have, you will see, I have a monthly series of objects gathered here around me. I took a lota. I took a lacquer box. You know. I have a few tubes of paint. I have a few tubes of paint, acrylic paint. I have temple symbols. I have a disinfectant spray. I think everybody has that in their house right now. I have more objects. I have my good friend here. We named him. His name is Lysander, after a character in Shakespeare. Dance with him. There's my Lysander. There's also Mother Earth here. The work in progress, the work I'm doing together with my daughter. So I'm surrounded by objects, and these objects are going to help us create a story. So I need you to get a monthly collection of objects around you as well. So I will go off screen for about, let's say, 3 or 4 minutes. And that is exactly the time that you have to just walk around in your house and gather a series of objects around you and put them with you on the place where you are. And you're going to need these objects in order to participate in this workshop. Right? So see you soon. I'll give you about 3 minutes for that.
Did I miss anything? I just went 2 minutes.
Having this exercise, so you have to find a couple of objects near you.
Okay.
So with which we will do this exercise. So everybody is searching for the object. Yes.
Right, everybody back? I don't know if Wery and Harsh, if you're still there, if you can hear me, it would be extra nice if we would have some visual contact with you, because this story will need to be created together. So don't you run away from this. This is not a test. It's just a bit of fun together. And the idea is, you know, when we create a story together, we'll have a story that involves and sort of incorporates and embodies the mind and the essence of being and the feelings and the emotions of all those present, you know. And everybody has the opportunity to give the story a certain bend or a certain direction. And once this direction is taken, you can't go back. There's no alternative. You know, you can't go. You can only go forward. And the only things that are available for you to help you are the objects that you have around you. So the idea is clear to everybody? Okay, there we go. So permit me to start the story with this Lota here. Because once upon a time, you know, there was this like fat-bellied merchant, a fat-bellied merchant sitting on his shopping cart in a market in a little village, looking at everyone passing by, and of course in his hand he had a whisk to whisk away, you know, insects and dust from his merchandise. And every time he had on a sales, you know, he would scratch his fat belly in contentment. And sometimes
He would even let go of a little fur and scratching his belly like that. And that is when once upon a time he heard this little soul. And this is where Aha takes over.
A lady coming by and looking at him, saw that he was so serious, too serious. And he said, how can I make this person laugh? So she started doing grimaces and things, but the guy would stay still and very not reacting. And so she thought, maybe with this I can go and tickle his nose. And the guy went, achoo! Oh, that's not the way. I didn't want him to sneeze. And then he started on the eye. But the guy started blinking and couldn't see anymore. And then she went into the ears. And the guy was really annoyed. You know, what's that? Coming in my ear.
And he's over to someone else that one.
To Kagendra.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, so, okay. I got this book because men are from Mars and women are from Venus. There was some misunderstanding how each of them understood the other person can be made to laugh. So there was some problem.
Mars and Venus. Who will take over? Shubi, will you take over?
Yes, I can try. I have a piece of marble with me. I'm wondering, where should I use it? Maybe.
Well, we were at the point where the girl was tickling the set on his card, and then all of a sudden, someone came up with an idea of Mars and Venus. So what happens now?
Now you look at this. Have you seen something like this before? If I hit this guy, I'm sounding like a sadist, but yes, this is what I found next to me. Imagine what I can do with this. It's quite interesting object. Yeah.
Take it over from here. Shubi, take it over from here.
Yeah.
From where?
Use it in the story. Use it in the story.
Yeah, use it in.
Continue the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Okay, I'll just come back. Maybe somebody else can try me once.
Okay, he will try. Avik? Avik, you're on mute. Avik, you're on mute.
Yes. Yeah. Loud and clear? Okay.
Loud and clear now.
So,
I don't know whether Shubi really added anything to the story. I don't know. She showed this really heavy object, threatened the guy, but then didn't really apply it. So let me take off from. So I have this light bulb. It's an LED lamp. So this is like what should I say? In this lady's head, the bulb kind of went off, so this is symbolic of that, a light bulb going out, a bright wave of idea, so this struck her head actually. So, and what was that idea? A brilliant idea it was, but I'm not sure. Maybe Sudipta will be able to tell us what that idea was,
And this fat man, this pot-bellied fat man scratching his belly and not knowing what to do and getting tickled in his nose, and suddenly this woman deciding to light a bulb in her head, and this man suddenly comes face to face with his dark side. And now he's thinking, what have I done? So now it's Brent.
Wow. All right, so Fat Man suddenly had this realization. He's very annoyed with what the woman is trying to do with her. All those feathery movements, all those touching his face without really any intention, and then suddenly the fat man had a lot of and he started to peel off the mask and tried to see it in a way that's very close to his heart. What's making him annoyed? He ripped it off, the mask, and tried to see and recognize how he feels. And there, the sound of the bells made a very serene movement in his heart, and he just closed his eyes. Despite this feathery movements again, but he was calm. Francis, back at you.
I come back. I think many people have everybody thinks he's a fat man. So I got something for him. Maybe something can be done there. I got a resistance band for him. Maybe he can exercise and lose some weight and probably build some nice biceps. So yes, I think he's getting calm, but now he needs some exercise.
So that is the moment.
Maybe some water.
Oh.
I would pour him some water and be an angel in his life.
That is the moment where the man is actually offering his bodily weight to you, my dear Shubi.
Thank you.
And when he got rid of this bodily weight, far away in the distance, he heard the noise of a peacock. And the peacock called out, and the peacock seemed to speak the human language. And the peacock shouted in his inner self, and the peacock said, Avik, Avik, you're frozen? Kagendra, maybe you will take over what the peacock said?
Come and ride on my feathers, and I will take you far away in a very special place. You will see, you will discover things that you've never seen before.
And at this very moment, the man changed into a hudhud. And the hudhud and the peacock had a conversation in bird language. Where is your world? Where is your world? I want to come there. And the peacock said, pew, pew, pew. And all this meant, Srimoi, are you there?
I think Srimoi will have take some time to log in, because that's Ovik basically trying to log in from another device.
Sudipta, then you go on. Sudipta?
Me? Did you say me?
Yes, you go on then.
And the pen was wondering what's going on.
Same here.
And the pen was wondering what's going on in my otherwise quiet neighborhood. There's so much of noise. Peacocks talking, people shouting. What should I do? Should I write? Khagendra.
Actually, I lost the story somewhere. Like, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, then Brent is frozen, I guess.
And,
Brent is
I'm
and
here.
to give company and to give company to the pen, there is a book that comes to give a company. Maybe pen can write something.
Shubi, there are two. Yes, Shubi, there. I think there are two more people waiting in the
Sorry, I got lost.
Can you just add them on the panel? Oh, they've moved.
I'm so
out.
sorry.
They moved out. They moved out.
Being
Sorry.
accidentally lost. Let me just do that.
Okay.
Please continue. Let me act
All
like
right, so it looks to me that the confusion has brought about to the pen. And we realize that there's a conjuring of papers coming from Shruvi. So suddenly with all this magic, we have managed to generate words like this. So just a rich text that just came out from the creative mind of the pen. And despite that, there was still an understanding. Maybe I'm still called an idiot. And I do not know what's going to be next.
Thank you, Brent, because this is, of course, when the merchant, who had just lost so much body weight, understood that with the loss of the body weight, he had gained space for his brains. And in his brains, he discovered the capacity to write love letters to that beautiful damsel of a little girl who had been walking by his shopping cart in the bazaar of that village. So who will create an end to this story, and then we'll try to create the second one together. The last word is for Khagendra.
Hello.
Khagendra, the last word is yours.
The last word is mine. Okay. So, yeah. So, like, not getting anything in my mind right now. Maybe somebody else can take. I mean, really.
Okay, Ava, will you do the last word and conclude this story?
And here, ladies and gentlemen, after all these exercises that the men had to do, writing on that pen, here he came and finally showed himself.
The true essence of humanity.
True essence, a big head, lot of thinking, and no body, just bones.
Great, Abba. Thank you. Thank you.
Hear that.
We will conclude this first let's say essay in cooperative storytelling here, and maybe we could think all of us together what the meaning is of doing this, and what the skills are that we need to develop in order to become better. As you see, as I told you, I use this a lot, this work form in education. You will find that when I go, for instance, to a class or to a group of young people, either school children or young professionals, I do this with professionals as well in companies. At first, they are just like us. Huh? They are very hesitant. They are a bit afraid of saying stupid things. And the difficulty is also to impromptu, in real time, come up with some sensible stuff. So it's not very easy. It's not an easy thing to do. But it is well worth practicing, and you will find that after some time, a group of people become better and better and better and better at it. And why would that be an interesting thing to do? That is my question now to you.
Have you asked us? Are you asking us?
Yeah.
Well, I think several, there are several, how can I say, objectives, goals. One is to get rid of this fear and to overcome our inner judge who always says, no, you're saying stupid thing, this is one goal. And the other is really working on imagination and see that the object can be become a symbolic play like the children do. So a feather is not a feather, or a hat is not a hat. This is not a hat, right. So transforming the object and seeing ahead of that, I think this is basically, working with our right side of the brain, with imagination one, yeah.
And this is important in education, but it's also important in the professional world. In whatever kind of team one works, whether it be in management or with software development or anything. These kind of activities are making really a lot of sense for these particular reasons. Any more reasons that someone can think of?
I believe that experience when we live life, all this experience somehow is inhibiting us from developing the creativity and the imagination that we were used to be, and we just have to start being mindful, and by being mindful is remembering who we are when we were a child, and certainty is dropped for imagination to arise, I would say.
Yeah. And it's very interesting what you say, Brent, because we build up experiences in our life, and as we go along and build up experiences, actually, instead of building up, we seem to lose something. We seem to lose the capacity of impromptu creativity, and the audacity of expression.
It's also because of the assumptions that we have of wrongs and rights that we accumulate throughout our life. And some things are not as important or as wrong as we have it in our mind. When we do this kind of activity, especially, we have a conversation, we also see the reactions, and we open up. I think that's one of the reasons it will be very useful. confrontations become easy because we don't have those assumptions anymore. That
Yeah.
people will become offended even though they won't. We just have it in our mind most of the times.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's two more things that I haven't heard so far that I would like to understand. The first thing is that in this kind of activity, we need to be connected to each other. You can't predict what's going to happen. So I've asked you to have yourself surrounded with objects, and maybe with these objects you had certain purposes or certain goals in mind, but then at an unexpected moment the storyline is offered to you or is given to you. You just have to go on. There's no way you can prepare. So it's this impromptu-ness that is really exciting, I think. And then another thing that I really like in these activities is that within a very short time span, we learn a lot about each other. I ask people to show objects from their household, and people show up their entire personality without having to formally introduce themselves. Like right now, all of us know that Brent has at hand somewhere in his library Dostoevsky's The Idiot. But this is an interesting piece of information. It's interesting. Just to give you an example. So we are informed about the hidden personalities of people without having the need to formally introduce. Normally, if I would work with a team, I would start by formally introducing one another to one another, and that would take like half an hour. You might as well fill that half an hour with an activity like the one we have done right now. That would give us a completely different kind of perspective on who we are. I don't know, Shudipto, how much time do we have left?
We are on till 6:30. I mean, we can push it till 6:40, but not beyond that.
And now it is, because I'm having a European...
It's 5:40. 5:40. I think we have an hour. We have a 40 minutes to an hour.
Okay, good. So we can do a second storyline now. And now we'll do it much better, because now you know exactly how this works. We have objects, we have storylines, the story is given to you, and you just proceed telling the story, inventing it as you go along, using any of the objects that you have within reach around you. And these objects can take the shape or the form of anything that you apply to it. Like, for instance, when I use the disinfectant spray as a bird, I can just use it as a bird. It doesn't even need to look like a bird. I can just give it birdiness. And once I apply birdiness to the bottle, it will be a bird. So don't let yourself be limited by the kind of objects you have. This is what many people do at first. They try to literally stick too close to the kind of objects at hand. Just try to freewheelingly go. And then let's have one sort of sign that I do. Let's say the moment that I will take the guitar, that means that whoever is having the story down should round it off and should just sort of come to the line where you write sum up. Yeah?
So each one has a whole story.
No, we will we will do another collective story, another cooperative story like we did.
Okay.
But now it's more clear what is expected. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment that you see me take the guitar, whoever is having the storyline at that particular moment will round it off and will sort of come to an end of that story. Right? That's understood by everyone now? And this time, Ava, maybe you would like to start.
Okay.
And don't forget to hand over your storyline to anyone you see on your screen at any given moment.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you see the object? No.
No, we see you,
No.
unless you are the object.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a fat man walking by. He was getting really bored and lonely. And he said, "Oh, how nice would that be to meet a nice lady, just to talk and to have a promenade together." And then suddenly there she comes, a very elegant lady. "Oh, hello. Hello. Brent, will you go on?"
Brent, you are muted. Yeah.
Yeah. The lady was wearing a wonderful dress that is made of diamond silk. She was very beautiful, and you know the person was enchanted by the beauty of this. He doesn't know what to do. He was bewitched. He's stunned, like how the gong would simply just say, and you just simply get stunned by how amazing and how wonderful the lady is. The lady was just strolling around, not really paying attention to the fat person. So the fat person decides to, Avik?
So it appears that this fat guy is actually a fashion designer. So what he says that I have my measuring tape. I want to take your measurements to the lady so that I can make a beautiful dress, a very fashionable dress for you. So just he starts taking measurements of his waist and you know the different proportions of his body, of her body, her height, and then with that measurement, I wonder what he does. Maybe Sudipto, can you suggest what he does with these measurements of her?
Sudipto, you're on mute. Yeah.
I said he draws a picture of Mona Lisa. So I pass on to Priyanka. I'll pass on to Priyanka after this.
Okay. Thank you. So the fat man was drawing the picture of Mona Lisa, and he started putting a big bindi on the forehead of Mona Lisa. Look. And from there started coming out all different colors of ribbons, and he started gathering those ribbons, and also some nice laces started coming out. He started pulling those nice laces, and he kept the ribbons on his right and he kept the laces on his left, and he still needed some sequels. So he tapped on the picture of Mona Lisa, and out came quite a few sequels and beads, and he collected them in a huge bowl, and he started looking at them. And then he looked at the beautiful lady, and he looked at the dress that he is making, and he took each piece of the ribbon and he tied a nice belt the lady. And he took one piece of lace and he started decorating the nice dress of the lady. And finally, he took pieces of sequins and he started making the beautiful neckline. And when she was ready, the fat man asked, "Hello, you are looking lovely. Can I take you to the promenade? Can we dance?" And she said, and Khagendra is going to say what she said.
The twist. So, hello.
Good evening, Snehal.
Yeah.
Good evening.
So while this guy was, this woman was looking at this guy, and he
Good
was
evening, Rekha.
waving his hands as if he's stressing her, and she suddenly saw on a table there was some alcohol, and
Good
she
evening,
realized
Nirvikalpa.
this guy was drunk all
Thank you.
this time,
People have
and
informed about their inability to attend today's
and
session
whatever he was
due to
doing,
the
it was
interview.
all in his mind,
Some exams
and
going on,
uh, then
so
like
preparations going on
maybe
like this.
somebody can take it from here. Francis, can you?
At the time also
Maybe
there would
Anandi can
also
take,
there will be
Averi
on
can
and
take
off.
it from here. Even Averi. Hmm. Oh.
Um,
And the lady thought, I need to make him some coffee.
and the lady thought, I need to make him some coffee.
So she went to the kitchen.
So she went to the kitchen and took a pot. And then she got some water.
And then she looked for coffee everywhere.
And then she looked for coffee everywhere. She couldn't find coffee, so instead of making coffee, she made tea.
He can be useful too.
And then she poured the tea in a cup, and then
Put it back to the man.
and then put it on a plate, and then took it back to the man. The man,
She said, here, drink this. This is medicine.
the man was sitting on a chair. The lady then said, here, take this, and this is a medicine. The man then asked,
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Have you been there?
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
yes.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Hi, Francis. No, I joined. I joined at 5:25. I missed the time.
Oh,
It was
I'm
at
sorry.
5. I'm sorry. Rather, I missed the time. And when it was 5:25, I
I
hurriedly
will
joined.
some more time, and then you will take up your part. You will soon see what we are doing. We are cooperatively telling a story. Yeah?
Okay.
Maybe, Ava, you can rewind a little bit, and then we move to someone else.
Rewind. So this man was able to read the tea leaves, and while he was looking at them inside the cup, he became all red, and he started sweating, and the lady went on and said, "What is going on? Tell me, what is it? What is it?" And the man was just speechless and took out his handkerchief and started cleaning his wet face, and was just speechless. Why? Avik?
So when the lady asked, I mean, what is it? I mean, why are you so perplexed? Why are you so? And the guy said, "Dear madam, you won't believe me, but I can really look into the future. I have this special gift, and what I see is that you and I are going to get wedded, and for the next 50 years we will be married to each other."
Wow.
Think of that. I mean, is it possible? But that's how it is. That's what the leaves are showing. I mean, I don't know what to say. And Payal, can you suggest how it moves from here?
Oh my God. I just joined. Only thing which comes to my mind is Inception. Now, when somebody is looking to the tea leaves, I'm reminded of the film Inception, where they are thinking everything in their mind. I hope it is not something like that. So I think I'll wait for some more time to jump in. Meanwhile, lives.
Well, the lady, she runs to her private little room and she thinks, "Oh no, I never meant to marry this guy. Oh no, I can't." And she goes to her little temple and she prays to Lord Ganesh. And she says, "Oh Ganesh, what have I done? Why are you doing this to me? Please, can you help me? Please." And she fell down, and Ganesh moved towards her and started whispering to her, "Priyanka,
Listen, I am going to tell you a secret. This man is actually under the alcohol, So you should do something. You should go to the other room and you should say that you can also know how to see the tea leaves. And then this will happen. And then this will happen. Okay, Ganesha. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And she left for the other room. And over there, she looked into the tea leaves and she said, "You know what? You can look into the future, but I can look into the past. And I can see something else that has happened in the past because of which we can't get married. Do you know what?" And Brent, I know you know what happened in the past. Why can't they get married?
So they look at this. They started looking at the teeth. And, the fat man is still hyperventilating. With his eyes a bit dilated because he thinks that he sees the future with his friend. He's very excited. But at the same time, the lady is just there just to comfort him, Relax. Let's try to see this together. What you see in the future, but what I would like to offer you is, let's walk through the memory lane of the past and see what's going on. You're such a troubled man. You kept drinking. And that somehow, some way, made you who you are right now. What's that problem that you have? Could you remember? Try to remember, sir. So, if a man who's so stuck in the future started to depart from it, like a portal going back to the past, and there he tried to see what's going on. Ava, what do you think happened?
That originally he used to be someone like this, like a, not dwarf, you know, one of these gnomes of the wood magic. And one day happened that he stepped into a wrong place. He entered the castle where he shouldn't have, and was transformed into this such huge, fat, ugly man. And so he was cursed. So someone had to break this curse so that he could become again what he was, a little spirit of the woods.
And we are back to you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, hey, did you see how much better that second round went when compared to the first one? Yeah. You see, so just a little practice, and people have a tendency to become very, very good at this. And this is actually what I'm always coming across when I try to introduce these learning structures in schools or in companies. And people always start with a little bit of resistance. So why are we doing this? And what's the sense? And what's the big deal? And we're not even good at it. But after 2 or 3 rounds, people get really good at this. People really grow into this. And the more easy people are, and the more they can work with the unexpected being the sudden moment that the storyline is handed to you, and impromptu reacting to that. The more people can do this, and the better that people get in this, the more they will be able to transform or transfer these particular skills into the other aspects of their lives as well. So this is really storytelling as a mode of learning and the skill development. Any last thoughts from you guys, or any hesitations or questions that you might have with regard to this kind of work?
I think it was more, the difference was also the fact that each one of us was able to pick up from the previous one and to make a link that had a sense.
Yeah.
Rather than just adding took, their own piece. Yeah.
Yeah, this is typically what happened the first time. Huh?
Yeah.
We are not skilled yet in taking up this unprepared lead that is given to us.
True.
Something in mind, and we just restart instead of picking up the line. And
yeah, we are too worried about what we have to say. Yes.
So this is another thing that you learn when working in this structure, is that you learn how to listen, and listen in order to hear. Whereas we people, mostly when we are in conversations, we listen while we are actually waiting to speak. Rather than listening in order to hear, we listen in order to find an opportunity to speak. And as long as we listen in order to find an opportunity to speak, we will not have these natural links that Ava is referring to now. Yeah, that's a very interesting observation.
This is what politicians do. They just listen so that waiting to speak, but they don't listen to really hear.
Nice. Any more ideas?
Yeah, I also would like to concur with what Ava said on the congruence of every follow-up. Yeah, and that also means that there was a sense of deep listening in order for you to make a coherent story.
Yeah.
And such a way to navigate uncharted territories, Francis. It was very uncomfortable at the start, but then you started to get the flow without really looking whether would I be judged when I say something nonsensical. But that nonsense would eventually will become something that makes sense, because that will be carried forward by the other person who would follow through with that.
And the fear of being judged flows very, very quickly. It flows away. Huh? You just very quickly it goes. Huh? Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. More thoughts?
Hello,
Yes, actually, this is very interesting because I was reading this. I just complete just 1 minute, Priyanka. I just complete this thought. So this reading of this book on link between neuroscience and literature. And what happens is the moment you're challenged with coming up with new words or a new narrative of a situation which you don't understand, and so spontaneously, I think that it helps you to think quickly, and that is why this exercise is very good for a lot of to build communities. It's good for children to grow up and learn their language learning, and also for therapy, because and if you carry it for a long period of time, it becomes very therapeutic as you start getting dig deeper into yourself, into your memory, which Priyanka was that part where she was getting into memory. And I think that is a very, very interesting exercise. And as you go on and on and on, and as the group is formed, and if the group is a consistent, permanent group, and if you keep on doing this, I think that you find some amazing results coming up through this exercise. So yeah, that's my point. Thank you.
Yeah, you wanted to say something too, huh?
Okay. Okay. Yes, I wanted to speak. Francis, so much. Thank you so much for bringing your work to us. I use a similar kind of pattern in something I call as organic storytelling. Because it emerges from the audience and it emerges from the circle, and you are right there facing the unknown, facing the unexpected. One thing during my practice, what I have observed, what I also observed in this circle, you absolutely were spot on when you spoke about different objects that we are picking up, because it talks about our personality. But also another thing is very interesting. Even though there are no objects, say we spoke about objects, but we also spoke about without objects a lot about our own selves. Because the stories that we are telling, it's not only about the fat man or about the beautiful lady. There are so many layers that talks about us. Why we suddenly we think about fat man? Why we think about the fat man shedding weight? Why we think about transferring that into that weight into the wheat and wisdom? Why we think about a lady and a man meeting will definitely convert into a marriage and not something else. So it talks a lot about us, why we look into the future and not into the past, why we look into the past and not into the future. It's about us, even though we are telling somebody else's stories. So
it says everything about the whole range of unconscious biases that all of us with.
It is actually said, I'll just taking forward what Priyanka says, it is said that when a writer or a creator writes something or creates something, there is a part of that particular person in the story. Maybe the writer is creating a lot of characters, but hello?
Yes.
Hello. Yes. Maybe the writer is creating a lot of characters, or the storyteller has introduced a lot of characters to tell a particular story. But there is somewhere some element in some percentage that that person or his or her life experiences, how the person sees or comprehends the world around. There is some part of it in that story. That's why when Priyanka said that the organic thing. Yes, I think I would agree. That is very true. Very true. Very true. So whenever I'm also trying to write a story, maybe of very independent, different sort of a thing, I find that somewhere something which has happened around me, or I have seen something happen around me, it comes in some or the other form there. It does. Yes.
Thank you.
Also, Francis, it's so similar to the image theater that you practice, no? Image theater.
Yes, Gyaneshwar, please turn on your own.
Just one small observation.
Yeah. This is one of the that I do use objects, because the objectification makes what Priyanka is telling us is absolutely right. When we proceed in this unexpected, when we are urged in this unexpected role of being a storyteller, we give away so much of ourselves that very often we reach the boundaries of where we feel safe. And my experience is that when people can hold an object, that they sort of can transmit their vulnerability into that object. And just holding on to it gives them some kind of safe space, in which it becomes more easy to go on with the activity of expressing themselves.
And what is
you see what I mean, Priyanka? This is why I love working with objects. And also these objects are randomly chosen, just without prior notification. People come into a room and I just tell them, look, we have 10 minutes, go about and look for objects and take as many as you can.
That is lovely.
In a live setting, this is fun than in an online setting. Online, we have the advantage that all of us are in our own house. So we can take the objects from where they came from.
Yeah, Francis, I think it is the same, like very similar to the uses of masks, or very similar to the uses of the nose of the clown, because everything provides, layers or curtains behind which you are thinking you are hiding, but you are actually not hiding, but actually it provides you that safe space to talk about your own self, but little more unguided. Yeah.
Precisely, I was just thinking that when Sudipto came up with his very beautiful mask. You hide behind the mask, because the hiding behind the mask opens up the possibilities to be your real self. Yeah. By the way, Payal, I have been enjoying your singing on your YouTube channel.
All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Francis.
Which means that we have to be, which means that you have to sing one for us this evening.
Fantastic.
Isn't it,
Fantastic, Sudipto. Fantastic, Sudipto. You've just picked it up from there, isn't it?
Yes.
Just now?
Yes. Oh,
so can it be any language? Yesterday I sang a Hindi song. Can it be a Bengali this time? Though I know many of us will not. Okay, then listen to this. It is a song of the monsoon. It's a Nazrul Giti. পরদেশি মেঘ যাও রে ফিরে বলিও আমার পরদেশি মেঘ যাও রে ফিরে, সে দেশে যাবে বাদল ঝরে, সে দেশে যাবে বাদল ঝরে, কাঁদে নাকি প্রাণ একলা ঘরে, বিরহ ব্যথা নাহি কি সেথা, বিরহ ব্যথা নাহি কি সেথা, বাজে না বাঁশি নদীর তীরে, পরদেশি মেঘ যাও রে ফিরে, বাদল রাতে
I think you can recite
ডাকিলে
one of your Hindi
পিয়া,
poems for us.
পিয়া পা পিয়া, পিয়া পা পিয়া, বাদল রাতে ডাকিলে পিয়া, পিয়া
Yeah, you can do that
পা
later.
পিয়া,
Yes, thank you.
পিয়া পা পিয়া, বেদনায় ভরে ওঠে না কিরে কাহারো হিয়া, ফুটে যাবে ফুল উঠে যাবে চাঁদ, ফুটে যাবে ফুল উঠে যাবে চাঁদ, জাগে না সে থাকি প্রাণে কোনো স্বাদ, দেয় না কেহ গুরু গঞ্জনা, সে দেশে বুঝি কুলবতী রে, পরদেশি মেঘ যাও রে ফিরে, বলিও আমার পরদেশি রে, পরদেশি মেঘ যাও রে ফিরে। That's it.
Thank you.
This is a song written by Qazi Nazrul Islam, who is a very prominent
Bring your daughter
poet,
also to the class so that we
an
can
amazing,
all
a very eccentric person, also a kind of a polyglot. From Bangladesh, he was born in Bangladesh. He's very important, almost the national poet of Bangladesh, and his compositions have been rendered into songs. And like Rabindranath Tagore's songs, this is a Nazrul song. So thank you very much, Payal, for
Thank you.
giving us this gift,
Thank you.
this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, Brent, we would like to, okay, before, sorry, Francis, we wanted to hear a song from Brent. I am very excited to hear a song from Brent.
Oh, yes.
I don't think I have